Next question, Jeff. Where are you? Right there.
Yeah. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean, thank you.
Easy, man.
Thank y'all guys. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Funk, for saying what needed to be said. I don't want to see another one of these.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Do you all see and hear me okay in the chats? What's going on? Let's say hi to some folks. What's up, Moon at Noon? I don't remember posing for that toy. Oh, Moon at Noon is all swole. Hey, it's Joanne Hartnett. Hello. Be kind, my favorite lady. It's nice to see you back from Wisconsin, safe and sound. Danny Staten into his house. Where's everyone else? Let's see. How's everyone going? Glenn Danielson is here. Okay. I hope all you guys had a nice little week. And I hope you enjoyed the show last week about magical Asians. If you missed it, check it out. I was very proud of that show. The only thing I regret about that show is not showing a clip from Last Dragon, because I felt like it was missing that clip. But otherwise, everything's good. How's everyone doing today? Okay, so today we're starting a new show. Where I want to talk a bit about myself a little bit more here. I don't talk about myself very much on this show. I've come to realize some of the things I'm into, I have shared, like wrestling and the paranormal and video games and martial arts and shit and history. Oh, I think Be Kind, you were there. You saw that. Anyway. So one of the things I don't love is Bigfoot. There, I said it. Frankly, I hate his guts. He's a piece of shit and an asshole, and I fucking hate the guy. So no, Bigfoot is not one of my passions. Now, I do believe Bigfoot is real. I do believe that people are having actual experiences, and I have people who I call very close friends who have had experiences of their own. And so, yeah, I do believe Bigfoot is out there. I do believe people are having these experiences, and I do believe Bigfoot is real. But yeah, I just fucking hate the guy. I just do. He smells bad. He's not very photogenic, and his penis is too obscenely large. It's obscene. Okay, he doesn't have the decency to walk around in Speedos, and I think he's a menace, and I think he should be dealt with. That's just my personal feelings. I know people in the paranormal cryptid community, some of you guys who I know in the paranormal cryptid community, you have the very different feelings about Bigfoot. I get it. You know, people feel like they've listened to enough of these shows. They feel like they've built a relationship with the Bigfoot, right? I get it. And for some of these people, I've noticed it's almost gone parasocial, not just paranormal, or they feel like they actually have a sort of weird kind of relationship with Bigfoot, the same way like a sports fan would have a relationship with their favorite football team, or how like a music lover would be really into a certain band or a certain singer, right? People build up these weird parasocial relationships. It's true in every field and every hobby or venture. Pro wrestling fans definitely build up these weird parasocial relationships with their favorite pro wrestlers. You see, comic book nerds build up these weird associations, like they kind of identify with certain comic book characters, or they identify as being loyal to a particular comic book character, right? You guys have seen that as well. Even some of the older generation people, they'll be like a little too obsessed with like a certain book. Question. This is concerning the nature of reality. My question is, if everything tastes like chicken, why don't eggs? Eggs do taste like chicken. They just taste like a different part of the chicken. They're menstruations. Anyway, sorry to get gross on you, but it's true. I saw that in a quote somewhere. I forgot which movie. I forgot who called eggs chicken menstruations. Oh, I remember now. It was in that documentary, Super Size Me, where they were featuring this one like weirdo, like vegan raw food guy. And he was like, eggs are just chicken menstruations, right? That guy was weird. Anyway. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so people have these weird parasocial relationships, right? I've had mine. And this is where I'm going to go a little bit into myself and just talk about the nature of these parasocial relationships. Because I notice it a lot in the paranormal cryptid community where people will, if they don't form parasocial relationships with some of these, I guess, show hosts, what they'll do is they'll form these relationships with like ghosts and UFOs and spirits and Bigfoot and Dogman, Gugway. People get all defensive about it, right? People be like, yo, Gugway, that's not like this Native American term. That's that Native American term. And they get all butthurt about it because they're defending the honor of their homie. That's all about it. Parasocial and paranormal, they're like next door neighbors, aren't they? They like cousins. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've had a few of my own parasocial relationships. So a little bit about me, not with Bigfoot though. I don't have a parasocial relationship with Bigfoot. Actually, no, I take that back. I do have a parasocial relationship with Bigfoot. He is my nemesis. He is my enemy. Donny Cho has waged a war on Bigfoot. His dick is too big. I don't like it. I don't like it. Walking around so obscene, stealing people's food, leaving footprints, pissing on people's cars. It's fucked up. Something's got to be done about them. Anyway, so when I was in college, it was my sophomore and junior years of college. Man, me and my group of friends, we all lived in a suite together on campus, and we got really into Tekken Tag Tournament. Tekken, it's a fighting game, right? Let me show you what the game looked like. We were so into this game, like our whole lives revolved around it, right? We would go to school, go to class, barely. We all had girlfriends who were all pissed at us because we would rather spend time with our homies playing this game and going to tournaments than paying attention to them. Yeah, and I pretty much based my life around it. And yeah, just to show you what this game kind of looked like. I'm trying to find a good clip. So I'll show you guys a clip of the game that I used to take real seriously back in like 2000. This is the intro to the game. You don't really see much gameplay. There's Kazuya. There's fucking Lei Wulong, the drunken master. He was one of my main characters that I used. I used him a lot. He was like the Jackie Chan guy. He used like drunken style kung fu. There's Brian. He's like the kickboxer, but he's also an assassin who also has superpowers. Also a character I used quite a bit. One of my best friends was a main of his. There's Nina Williams, the vixen assassin. Jun Kazama. There's Jin. He's like the main hero of the game. There's Kazuya. He's like Jin's father. So yeah, I used to play this game. Not just play the game. Like I went to tournaments to compete. Like we would get in our car, drive town to town, talk shit to people online. People be like, "Yo, I heard this Donnie from New Jersey. Yo, I could whip his ass." And I just be reading that and be like, "Oh yeah, really? Well, why don't I go drive down to Boston and meet you at that tournament and let's figure it out, right?" We would be driving all up and down the East Coast, competing in these tournaments, winning a lot. And yeah, me and my crew of homies, we were part of the Tekken competitive fighting game Tekken scene for a good while. And again, it was like our whole lives revolved around it because we were winning money. We were meeting a lot of friends. We were meeting people from all over the country. People from like Nebraska and shit would literally get on a plane just to fly out just for the opportunity to play against me and my Xiao Yu, because my Ling Xiao Yu was considered one of the best in the country, which I ain't gonna brag, but I think I might have one of the best Ling Xiao Yus in the original Tekken Tag Tournament 1. Man, I used to tear people up with that character. So the way, I don't know if you guys are familiar with fighting games or fighting video games like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken. Like I know people are familiar with the games, but I don't know if you guys are familiar at all with the actual competitive scene, right? Where it's like the paranormal community, where their people's lives revolve around all this paranormal shit. It's the same way with the FGC, the fighting game community. Like their lives revolve around this shit. And people, now the thing is, when you are a competitive Street Fighter or Tekken player, most competitive players, whilst they can play all the characters in the roster, like I was able to pick up any character. Like I knew all the characters. I had all the moves for every character memorized. Still, when you go to your tournaments, you have your one or two mains. We call that in the FGC. Those are your main characters, right? Like if you're a Ryu main for Street Fighter, when you go to a tournament, you only ever pick Ryu or Ken, right? Because that's who you're familiar with. That's who you are bonded with. That's how you feel like you are the best with. And eventually, once you're in this scene, yeah, you start developing these weird parasocial relationships with your main characters. I remember I used to go to sleep dreaming about Ling Xiao Yu and Huadong and Forest Law because those were the characters that I picked. I lived and died by those characters. I relied on them, practiced with them every day, going into these big tournaments, these big national tournaments, and I'm like, Ling Xiao Yu, Huadong, Forest Law, you guys are my buddies. Don't let me down, homies. Right? Some of you guys who are young enough to remember like getting really into Street Fighter, and then you picked that one character and you felt like you were the best with that character, and that was the only character you played. And eventually, once you start getting competitive in it, start traveling around, going to online forums, meeting people, competing in these tournaments, you start getting this weird parasocial relationship with them. And I know that feeling very well. I've lived it. Yeah, for several years, I've had weird parasocial relationships with some of these Tekken characters. And, I never competed in any Street Fighter tournaments, but I have attended as a spectator. And, I play a lot of online Street Fighter, at least, during 5. I haven't started playing 6 yet. Um, yeah. So why am I bringing this up? Well, it's because there were a number of stories that came out ever since I got into the cryptid scene. We started hearing all these stories about Bigfoot, um, and Dogman, and all these encounters and eyewitness testimonies that people have of these creatures. And for the most part, you guys have heard them all, right? You guys have heard a bunch of them. I know Moon at Noon, Paradox Fossils. You've heard a bunch. Brown Dwarf has definitely heard a bunch of Bigfoot encounter stories, right? You guys have heard a fuck ton. Joanne Hartnett, I know you from these paranormal circles. Danny Statton's had his own experiences, right? We've all had our experiences. So, we most of the time, these experiences that we hear about, it's not really Bigfoot doing anything really crazy other than like he's spotted and then he leaves, right? Or maybe he does some other shit. Who knows? For the most part, right? Not always. I never hear too many stories about Bigfoot actually attacking or killing people. See, those are the stories that I'm concerned of. Those are the stories I'm interested in. Those are the stories that I'm concerned about. Not because I like to revel in the violence inflicted towards other human beings, because I don't. Um, unless it's hilarious, then I revel in it. Um, but it's that I you see what most encounters, you just see Bigfoot and then he bounces, right? They see his shoulder, they see him, and then he's gone. They're like, "Oh my god, I saw Bigfoot. Look at what did his fur look like? What were you doing? What time of night was it?" But you never really hear about Bigfoot like fucking shit up. You never hear about Bigfoot like ripping a dude's arm off and clubbing him to death with it, right? Those are the stories I want to hear. Again, not because I want to revel into violence. No, because I want to know what Bigfoot is made of. I want to know what it looks like if Bigfoot throws down. I'm curious to know how hard Bigfoot can actually punch. I've never heard a single story about Bigfoot actually punching a thing. Now, I've heard stories about Bigfoot attacking, and even some go as far as stories about Bigfoot actually killing people if they are to be believed. Um, not a famous example, but a recent relevant example. If you guys look a few months back, Jason and I did a show on Teddy Roosevelt. And in that show, where we're talking about the life of Teddy Roosevelt, he actually released a book about his travels in the wilderness and the American frontier and collecting stories. And there was one cryptid encounter story that he did include in his book that may or may not have involved Teddy Roosevelt, may or may not. But just to make a long story short, to give you the TLDR of the story, these two guys, I believe they were gold prospectors, they go off into the wilderness, hike for a while, camp. And while they're camping, setting up for their gold prospecting, um, they set up the tent, they have their food, the campfire, they go to sleep. And during the night, they get visited by a Bigfoot kind of creature, right? Standing right outside their tent. I believe in the story, one of the guys actually fired a shot. It ran off. Next morning, he goes to try to track it down, leaves his other friend at the camp. He finds a set of tracks that kind of lead to nowhere. So he gives up the search, goes back to the camp, finds his friend dead. How did he die? His head got twisted around. Now, the narrator or the main character or person or witness of the story may or may not be Teddy Roosevelt himself, recounted that he believed that whatever the creature was snuck up behind the guy while he was sitting at the campfire, grabbed him by the head, and twisted his neck completely around. And when Jason and I were talking about it, Jason and I brought up something I found very interesting, was that he mentioned how there have been finding these mysteriously killed animal carcasses, primarily deer, bucks, who've had their head snapped, like as if something grabbed them by the head and spun it around, and they were dead. And Jason and I were talking about it, and it seemed like that would be Bigfoot's primary modus operandi of getting people, of fucking you up. And it makes sense, right? Bigfoot's bigger, it's taller, probably got big hands, grabs you by the head, probably sneaks up behind you because it's very stealthy, grabs you by the head, twists that shit around. And the last thing you see before you leave your mortal coil is the sight of Bigfoot's 3-foot long penis. How sad of an ending is that? Sad. But it makes sense, right? I mean, I kind of try to imagine what if Bigfoot got all murderous and started killing people? He would probably either rip people in half or just come up behind them and just twist their necks off. Yeah. And then you hear all these stories about how strong they are, right? Like about how They can rip trees out from the ground by the roots. So I started thinking, man, this thing's like a furry Hulk, right? A fur Hulk, a folk. I mean, if it could rip trees up out of the ground, and I saw clips of like these trees being shaken and shaking violently, and I'm like, whatever is shaking that thing's got to be strong as shit because those are some big, thick trees, and they're just like moving around like they're swaying in the wind. So I started wondering, and I started pondering, has there ever been a man who's ever walked this earth who could take Bigfoot on? Not with any weapons or any kind of special powers or abilities, but just take Bigfoot on, just hand to hand. Has there ever been a man walking this earth who could whoop Bigfoot's ass? I'm here to tell you folks tonight, there is such a man who could whoop Bigfoot's ass. And whoop his ass pretty good too. It's not like that Jesus versus Dogman episode where I tried to analyze what it would be like if Jesus got into a fight with Dogman. Pre-crucifixion, not post. Okay. And we concluded that would be a pretty close fight. This fight, on the other hand, wouldn't be fucking close. And the man to do it, the man to put Bigfoot in his fucking place, is the man you're looking at on your screen right now, Zangief, who, incidentally, is my main character every time I play Street Fighter. In any Street Fighter game I play, I'm loyal to Zangief. That is my guy, right? Now, a few things I want to mention about Zangief. He is probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. But to me, he is very, very real. He's very much real. Yeah, just because he's a video game character does not mean that he's not real. Just like I believe Bigfoot is real, I also believe Zangief is real.
Yeah. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, it's still real to me, damn it. So I am aware that there are some of you in this chat who are not video game fans, who may not be completely aware of who this individual known as Zangief is. And how could a single man be able to beat the fuck out of Bigfoot? A normal man, just a regular man. Well, for that, folks, we have to kind of go back to the Bible. Yeah, I said it. I'm getting the Bible involved. Okay. Because I want to reference what, in my personal opinion, is my favorite story, personally, in the Bible. Yeah, Genesis 32:24. Are you guys familiar with this scene? Right, Jacob, in his dastardly ways, is tricking his way, conning his way, being a kind of a slimy guy to his brother. Right, trying to ask God for all these blessings. He's on the run. His brother's out to kill him because Jacob is kind of a dick to him. I'm not gonna lie. He kind of did him dirty, tricked his ass. Esau, his brother's all pissed at him. He's trying to kill him. Jacob's on the run. He's camping, and one day a man appears. And this man challenges Jacob to a wrestling match. Do you remember this story, guys, from Sunday school? And Jacob actually tries to wrestle him, and he's trying to ask him for a blessing because it turns out that man is God himself, right? So Jacob is actually wrestling with God physically. I always found that story very compelling. I used to think about that story quite a lot, right? Because how the fuck are you going to wrestle God? I mean, first of all, I'm pretty sure God would know, like, okay, if God chose to like manifest in a physical man's body and without using any kind of special powers or abilities or controlling like space or time or nothing, just his hands. Imagine if God was just like, yeah, I know I can create the universe, but I'm going to go into a physical man's body, operate by their rules, and give this Jacob dude the business. I'm going to give him these hands. Right? Imagine if God was so pissed at you that he was so tired of like controlling your fate that he was just like, nah, I'm just going to operate a human body and I am going to physically kick your ass. Right? How would you even challenge that if you knew that that's what God was going to do? I mean, first of all, he would know every submission hold, right? Pretty sure he would know like every hold, every counter to every hold. He would know every setup. Forget about putting God in your guard. I mean, I'm pretty sure God knows like every way to pass your guard, right? He knows he knows every move you're going to do before you even do it. It would be like so impossible to wrestle God. Even if he was wrestling in a physical man's body using physical man body rules, he would still whoop your ass, right? Cuz he knows everything, right? It would be impossible. If God came down to a physical man's body, he would at that point, just to wrestle your ass, he would at that point become the god of wrestling. If God were to come down and occupy a physical man's body and cook you the most perfectest meal, he would be therefore the god of cooking, right? He's the god of whatever he sets himself out to do if he tries to do it as a man, right? Imagine that. Imagine if God was so sick of Jacob's shit that he came down in physical form and just decided to kick his ass for reals, right? There was that one bit where God touched Jason on the hip, or not Jason, sorry, whoops, Jacob, maybe Jason, where God touched Jacob on the hip and Jacob had a limp for the rest of his life. You know what that was, right? Either God did a slam on him or he put him in a leg lock, or maybe God put him in like a Boston crab. I mean, he knows every move. He can do every move. What kind of wrestling moves would God do? Right? So I started thinking, what if God, instead of trying to do that to Jacob, what if God decided, you know what? I'm tired of Bigfoot shit. I'm just going to kick his ass myself. I'm going to go into a man's body, just a man, operate by the physical meat world rules, and just go to Bigfoot and just kick his ass. What would that look like? I'll tell you what it won't look like. It won't look like this picture right here. You see this picture? Look at them right now. Jacob's all pushing against them. You got this angel. First of all, not textually accurate, right? The text was very clear that he showed up as like a regular guy. So the wings, get the wings out of here. But look at the hold that they're doing. They're just like, eh. All right. They're just holding each other. He's like, eh. Right? That's it. Those are the rules those are the moves that God would use if he wanted to wrestle your ass down. No. First of all, if God were to come down in the form of a wrestling machine whose sole purpose was to wrestle fuck your ass, that is not how it's going to look. I'll show you how it's going to look. And for the people who are not familiar with Zangief, pay very close attention, because this is how God would actually look if he actually wanted to come down to this earth and just beat the fuck out of you, like straight up. Oh, let's get rid of this. Behold, this is the god of wrestling. This is who other wrestlers pray to in the locker room before they even go out to their competitive wrestling meet or their pro wrestling match or their UFC fight or their, you know, Olympic wrestling trials, all wrestlers, all grapplers, they pay their homage, their allegiance to the god of wrestling. This is the dude they light candles for before every match. If God were to come down in the form of a wrestler just for the sole purpose of fucking you up, this is what it's going to look like. Oh, they done did it. They done did it. They knocked off his pro wrestling mask. Now look at that. Behold. How the fuck is Bigfoot gonna fuck with that? Huh? You tell me. You know what Bigfoot does when he sees that? He is going to pucker his ass cheeks, squeeze his knees together, waddle out of there like a little bitch. He's going to run and scream and then cry about it afterwards, right? Zangief, God in the wrestler form, whose sole purpose is to kick your ass, has now arrived. Bigfoot, what the fuck are you going to do about it? You large penis having monkey? Look at the way he chops E Honda. Fuck you, E Honda. See, that's the move that I think Zangief would do on Bigfoot first. Because you know how Bigfoot got that big old feet? That's an open target right there, baby. This is how you deal with Bigfoot. First move. Hold on, let me. Yeah, triple foot stomp, that bitch. Take that, Bigfoot. Elbow drop. Oh, Mongolian chop. And the patented spinning pile driver. That's the image that I go to sleep thinking about at night. The image of Zangief just spinning pile driving the ever-loving shit out of Bigfoot. Look at that. Double German. Boom. How do you deal with that? How are you supposed to deal with that, folks? The god of wrestling himself. See, that little skinny angel in that original picture, that's not what God would look like. If he was on this earth just to kick your ass in wrestling, this is not what God would look like. This is what God would look like. Yeah, that's him touching his hip. Boom. Oh, here's a super. The red cyclone. Could you imagine what Bigfoot would do? No, Bigfoot wouldn't do shit. Bigfoot would get all stealthy. He would try to sneak away, right? Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, Donnie, how could Donnie be talking about a guy who could kick Bigfoot's ass? That guy's just a video game character. What is Donnie on? And I'm here to counter you by saying no. Just like how I know and believe Bigfoot is real, I also know and believe that Zangief is real. And if Zangief ever had to fight Bigfoot, Bigfoot's getting fucked up. All right? Fucking destroyed. It wouldn't even be close. It wouldn't even be like sort of close. You know what I mean? It would just be like Bigfoot just being all scared. God in human form, whose sole purpose is just to smash your ass. You know what I mean? He's just doing school. Look at that face. What do you think Bigfoot's going to think when he sees that face? That man that's looking at him. That's the face of a man. The only man who's ever walked this earth as a man who could literally put Bigfoot over his knee and spank his ass. And no, he doesn't have any special powers. No, he doesn't have any special weapons. All Zangief's got is training and wrestling and muscles. That's all he's got. Now, Zangief hails from the cold wastes of Siberia. You know, he is Russian. He is of a Soviet background. You know, his main style, of course, is wrestling. And we all know it, right? What is Zangief famous for? Wrestling grizzly bears. And he wrestles grizzly bears for practice. Yo, that's his like warm up. Those grizzly bears ain't shit to him, right? That's what he trains with grizzly bears, right? If Zangief, or if you wanted to see what the world looked like through Zangief's eyes, it looks like this. That's what Zangief sees. He sees Brock Lesnar, and the first word that comes to his eyes, breakfast. Because to Zangief, someone like Brock Lesnar, that dude's just a bowl of Cheerios. What the hell's Bigfoot going to do about this guy when this guy shows up? Show me everything you have. Look at Barry Allen, aka The Flash, running all scared and shit. Oh, by the way, I got to give credit, Frankentank. This is the channel where I found this video. Give credit to the creator of this content. Respect your work, dude. So this is a clip of Frankentank's actual match fights, right? These are actual online fights against actual competitors. And look at the fucking beating he gives people. Look at Barry Allen all running all scared. Screaming like a woman. Wait, let's just go back to Barry Allen, the Flash, screaming like a woman when he sees Zangief, the god of wrestling, charging at him. Look at the way he fucks that little girl up. Yeah. Fuck out of here, little girl. See, Zangief don't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck if you're a 16-year-old girl, a 40-year-old man. He doesn't give a fuck if you're like a 90-year-old grandma. He doesn't care if you're a nun or a kung fu master or a karate genius. He will smash your ass either way. He will pick you up, spin you in the air, and drive you into the ground. He doesn't care if you're human or if you're a cryptid. He will do it to whoever the fuck he means to. Well, whomever, but... Look at this drunken master guy. He's like, oh, I'm going to do my Chinese drunken master on Zangief. Oh, yeah, buddy? Oh, yeah? Let's see what happens. Wheel kick. Headbutt. Get your fucking drunken master bullshit out of here. Double power bomb. Yeah, that's what he thinks about your kung fu. Look at Ken. Oh, he's got that famous patented dragon punch, the rising dragon fist, right? Shoryuken. Everyone knows the Shoryuken and the Hadouken. Iconic, right? You think Zangief give a fuck? Zangief don't give a fuck. Oh, he blocked it. Now what? That's what happens. Fuck out of here. Oh, he just slapped him into oblivion. Now we got Guile. Guile is like, you know, Mr. America himself. Mr. Sonic Booms. Right? No one fucks with Guile. Guile's like the video game equivalent of Captain America. He is America. He is everything good and positive and strong about American culture, all wrapped up into one fine, manly, beefy package known as Guile. You think Zangief give a fuck? Not one bit. Oh, he just sucked him in. He just sucked him in. Yeah, you're going to twist that head off, Bigfoot? I'd like to see you try. I'd like to see you try sneaking up on Zangief and try to twist his head off. Look at that. Oh, Ryu is fighting back. What's he going to do? Zangief's like, psych. Bam. Look at that horse. That horse in the background is freaking out. Oh, and now we got Dhalsim. He's master of the mystic arts, right? He's the yoga master. He's meditated for hundreds of years, learning the mystical, esoteric ways of tantric yoga and the mystic arts. This motherfucker's so mystical, his limbs stretch really long, and he can breathe fire. Do you think Zangief gives a shit about all that mystical crap? Fuck no. Fuck no. Yeah, let's get all mystical Dhalsim. Yoga, aesthetic. Yeah. That's what the fuck Zangief thinks about your bullshit ass yoga. Get that yoga bullshit out of here. Fucking mystical ass bullshit. This Zangief, yo. Zangief. Respect the power, people. Respect that power. He caught him out of mid-air. He dunked his ass. That was an alley-oop. Look, oh, Blanca. Another mysterious cryptid creature. What does Zangief do? Fucking drop kicks him into the wall, bounces him off, catches him mid-air, fucking spinning pile driver. Oh, Karate Girl. What are you going to do, Karate Girl? Fuck you, little girl. Oh, he don't give a damn. Damn, Zangief be fucking people up. So yeah, I ask you guys now that you've seen and beheld the power and the glory of Zangief, do you think Bigfoot got a shot against that? I don't think so. I don't think Bruce. I don't think he's got a chance in hell. Bruce Lee wouldn't fuck with that. I mean, Chuck Norris could fuck with that, but he Chuck Norris. So yeah, he's just training and just wrestling and just muscles. Now, I'm going to show you another clip. Now that you've seen the moves of Zangief, I want you to. This next clip is to show you more the personality of Zangief. What is he about? What is Zangief on? You know, what are Zangief's thoughts and ideas and, you know. Okay, I found it. I couldn't find it for a while. All right, this is a clip from the story mode for Street Fighter V. There's Chun-Li. Oh no. So here's the story, right? This dude here, you see how he's glowing all purple? He's like demonically possessed, guys. He's possessed by like the evil spirit. In the Street Fighter game, it's known as the Satsui no Hado. But at the end of the day, what is it? It's a person being possessed by the spirit of this thing, and through being possessed by it, he's gained all these unnatural powers, right? So this guy's all demon possessed, and these girls like Chun-Li, they're all scared. But then who comes down from the sky? God himself, Zangief. Yeah, he blocks him with his muscles.
He's just so cool. Are you kidding?
Our Mika's got good taste. You got good taste there, Rainbow Mika. Oh, Zangief. Is Zangief about to face off against a demonically possessed dude? I wonder what's going to happen.
Right mind. We have to snap him out of it.
Well then, Abel, why don't you throw all your aggressions at me? I'll take everything that you have with my muscles!
With his muscles.
So cool! Master Zangief!
Our Mika, Rainbow Mika, that girl gave me a lot of stress in the first season of Street Fighter V. Man, that girl gave me a lot of stress. Anyway. Look at this stupid motherfucker. He's trying to... Man, is this guy actually thinking about double-legging Zangief? Really? This guy's all demonically possessed. He's got these powers. He's going to fight off with the god of wrestling. And what is his first instinct? Go for a double leg? What a stupid motherfucker, man. This dude fucked up.
That was nice, John. However, you need to develop a lot more muscle power.
Oh no. I love how he just starts flexing and all the steam comes off his muscles. Hell yeah. Look at him flexing in the background.
I understand.
Yes.
Everyone, hurry.
Yes.
Understood. We go now.
Now that's how you exercise a demon, baby. Oh no, Ninja Girl. Now there's a ninja assassin. What? Ninja assassin's gonna go after Zangief? But that's not fair. She's got a sword. He's got no weapons.
Begin. Watch out, Mr. Zangief!
Oh no, has he been stabbed? No, he hasn't.
That's incredible! Totally awesome!
Damn straight. He just broke a ninja sword with his pecs. Damn. Anyway, behold Zangief. I know, right? Pretty amazing. So I think about Bigfoot, that big furry creature thing, going around, stealing people's food, twisting people's heads off, and I'm thinking, man, but I know Zangief. Zangief is my main. Now, for me, Zangief is very real because I was very obsessed with Street Fighter, right? I never played as Zangief in the beginning because one of the things about Zangief in the early Street Fighter games was that his main move, the spinning pile driver, you had to do a full circle motion on the joystick and press punch in order to pull off that move. And as a little kid, I couldn't wrap my brain around it because I was like, that move is so complicated. And you have to do a full circle. What if your character jumps at up, right? That move did not make any sense to me whatsoever. Until the later Street Fighter games, when I finally was able to figure out how to do spinning pile drivers, the full circle motion, and then do it consistently, that's when I felt compelled to use Zangief as my main for Street Fighter Online. Now, prior to that, I always played Ken and Ryu. And I was always one of those guys who would jump around, throw fireballs and jump kicks, and try to ward Zangief off. But I'm telling you, just ask anyone who plays these competitive Street Fighter games. It's like, if you play Street Fighter Online or play in a competition against someone who's like a really good Zangief player, man, that shit is fucking stressful and terrifying. And I was subjected to a lot of that stress and terror going up online against these really good Zangief players. Like, oh my God, they're going to grab my ass. They're going to slam my ass. Until I started practicing spinning pile drivers and doing them regularly. And then I was like, you know what? From this point on, I'm using only Zangief. And I'm only getting people in spinning pile drivers. And then from that point on, Zangief became my main. And as my main, I take him very seriously. Every time I'm in a match on online Street Fighter and I'm up against a guy who I know is probably ranked higher than me, so I'm like, oh man, I'm probably going to lose this one. I start having a conversation with Zangief for reals in my head. I'm just like, come on, buddy. We can do this. We can beat this guy. Just you and me, bro. Just you and me. Right? Zangief to me became very real because he's someone I thought about on a regular basis. Someone who I actually, for reals, would have mental conversations with. You know, I'd be in a really close competitive Street Fighter match, and I'm like, come on, man, just give me one SPD, buddy. Just one spinning pile driver just for me, your homie. We got this, right? You know, he is a very real part of my life. And when I go online and I play Street Fighter, I embody him. So for me, Zangief is just as real to me as Bigfoot is to some of these cryptid people, right? To some of these cryptid nerds, myself included. I call myself a cryptid nerd too. I'm not trying to belittle anyone. You know what I mean? But yeah, You do form parasocial relationships, especially when you start getting involved in these highly competitive, highly stressful events. Right?
For all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean, thank you.
It's still real to me, damn it. It's still real to me. Right? So yeah, I totally think and know that Zangief would totally whoop Bigfoot's ass. Well, because again, think about it, right? Apart from him being the Street Fighter character we all know and love, you know that at one point God did come down to the earth, occupy the body of a man with the sole purpose of whipping a dude's ass, right? If God could do it once, he could do it again. And if God were to do that, he's going to pick the most extreme version of a wrestler because it's God, right? So what do you think that wrestler's going to look like? Bam, Zangief. So yes, I totally think Zangief would whoop Bigfoot's ass, and it wouldn't even be fucking close. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't even be fucking close. Shit would be embarrassing. Okay. Now, some of you guys might be laughing at me, being like, "Why is Donnie talking about a video game character like he's a real guy? You know, what could this mean?" And then here's my other little nugget of wisdom here that some of you guys, I'm pretty sure, did not know. Zangief was actually based off a real guy. It's true. If you know the story and the history behind the development of the original Street Fighter game, this was back in the late 80s. Because the original Street Fighter game, I believe, came out in 90, or I believe it was being developed in 89, but came out in like 90. No, 91. 1991. Yeah, 1991. When the original programmers and developers were coming up with the different characters for the games, one of the designs they got their inspiration from. Here's the thing: a lot of Japanese people back in that day were diehard pro wrestling fans, and in the Japanese pro wrestling scene at the time, they had this one random Russian guy who was like this multi-time national Russian freestyle champion, right? Freestyle. He was like a freestyle wrestler, legitimate, like multi-time Russian national champion. And you know those Russian motherfuckers, they take their freestyle wrestling pretty seriously. So to be the multi-time champion in Russia, you know, this motherfucker's hardcore, right? I mean, of course there are people like Alexander Karelin, but this guy was kind of up there, but he went on a very different path. Instead of going, once he won, this guy was also multiple time world champion, right? This guy was one of the best, finest freestyle wrestlers that Russia's ever produced. But the problem was there was no money in actual wrestling professional wrestling outside the competitive circuits. So what this Russian man did, late 80s, early 90s, is he went over to Japan and he competed in Japanese pro wrestling. And all of these Japanese people, they never seen like a top tier Russian freestyle wrestler go into their Japanese pro wrestling ring and just fucking suplex the shit out of people. But he was a real guy. His name was Victor Zangief. And the programmers and developers have stated outright when they saw his match, that is where they got the idea of Zangief, the character. I mean, when I was a kid, I saw him on TV for the first time. I didn't even know who he was. I had my uncle's, those shady ass like cable boxes where you just like watch free pay-per-view and like Playboy TV. My uncle had one of those, and I was over at his house watching like free like pay-per-view, and they had this random obscure ass Japanese shoot fighting league, and this guy came on, and his name was Victor Zangief. And at the time, the Street Fighter game had already been out, so I'm sitting there thinking, this is like 92, right? I'm sitting there thinking, like, Zangief? You mean like the Street Fighter character? And then during the match, the commentators were like, yeah, this is the guy that the actual Zangief character is based off of. like the programmers and developers, they were actually in attendance at his matches, went back to their development room and came up with the character of Zangief. I mean, that's his name is Zangief. And look at his body hair. That's one hairy ass motherfucker. That's him right here in a wrestling match. So yeah, Zangief was actually a real guy. For those of you who want to point fingers at me and be like, Zangief isn't real. He actually is real. He was actually a real guy. So just so you guys can get a sense of who Victor Zangief was, let me show you a quick clip of okay, this is a quick clip of the actual real life Zangief actually wrestling, just in case you're curious. Look at how hairy he is. See, the real life Zangief didn't wrestle bears. No, he was the bear. See him spinning dudes around? Man, he is working that dude's arm like nobody's business. He is fucking that guy's arm up. Damn. And this guy's legit too, you know, like multi-time national Russian champion, multi-time world champion in freestyle wrestling. I mean, this guy could have gone to the Olympics easily. And yeah, he was a fucking human suplex machine. Man, he had some dope ass looking German suplexes he would do on dudes for reals too. Like this guy was known for doing like actual German suplexes and actual wrestling meets, and he would fuck people up. And yeah, he was terrifying. Now that man could. Do you think I think that man could beat a Bigfoot? No, I'm not talking about that man. I'm talking about this man you're looking at right now. This man would fuck Bigfoots up all day long. Bigfoot would not want to have anything to do with fucking Zangief right here, right? I'll show you what Bigfoot. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you what Bigfoot would do if he actually did see Zangief like that. What would Bigfoot actually do? There's Bigfoot right there. Hey, everyone say hi to Bigfoot. Yo, what's up, Bigfoot? Hey, Bigfoot. Hey, I got a buddy here that I'd like you to meet. He came all the way from Russia to meet you, dude. Yeah, he's like this guy, and he kind of looks like you. He's got hair all over his body, and he likes bears. He likes hugging bears like you. Yeah, his name is Zangief. And he's here behind me. He would like to challenge you, Bigfoot, sir, to a friendly wrestling match. Right? Yeah. So Bigfoot, what would you like to wrestle Bigfoot? Where are you going? Me and Zangief. It's right here. What? I mean, Bigfoot, don't you want to hang out with me and Zangief? Bigfoot's like, nah. Bigfoot just walks away briskly, tries to keep it cool. He's like trying to walk away, being like, no, I'm okay over here. I'm just gonna leave. That's what Bigfoot be doing once he sees Zangief. So yes, let us put respect on his name, motherfucking Zangief, the one man who walked the earth, who could whoop Bigfoot's ass and whoop his ass easily, real easily. Yeah, Bigfoot wouldn't know what hit him with those pile drivers. So yes, I hope you guys appreciate, like I appreciate, my friends, my partner, my parasocial love buddy, Zangief. Good night, folks. And yeah, peace out.